Good morning. It's Monday.
Yeah.
July 3rd.
All day.
Extra Shot, your favorite show online, Facebook Live. Yeah. I'm Cornelia. We're joined by two strangers. I'm going to call them strangers today, but you guys know them. Walt Gray. Rob Carlmark is here. Two guys and a girl. My mic is muted. And are y'all picking me up on?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Hold on. You see, I'm doing
That's
the
a
most.
little bit better.
Doing the most. Y'all hear me
You
now?
fine, but this is better.
You hear me now? So we're here, Monday Extra Shot. We got 3 topics to dive into. First, we are going to talk about our favorite tweeter. The tweets heard around the world again, President Donald Trump. Now, you're seeing on the screen video. This was posted by the president yesterday on Sunday of him wrestling, or wrestling, as Walt Gray likes to say, down a person with a CNN logo photoshopped onto their head. So a lot of talk and discussion about this. A lot of backlash and a lot of people saying, hey, so big, it's not that big of a deal, you know. It's just, you know, like a nice fun moment on the Twitters. And at the end, there was a logo that was put up on the back end of the video that says FNN, Fraud News Network.
What happened to Fake News Network?
Well, no, he switched it up. He said via Twitter, he said he was going to switch it up and now start referring to it as Fraud News Network. But before we discuss, I want to point out he did tweet before that, the day before, my use of social media is not presidential, it's modern day presidential. Make America great again. What do we think? Are we mad? Do people care?
Well,
should we just get over it and move on?
There's so much going on here that there's now fake news on the Fraud News Network. So we have another layer of icing here. I would also say that if you've seen this video, it's been out for years. This is from WrestleMania, and Donald Trump was involved in WrestleMania, and the person that he's body slamming is Vince McMahon. This was all staged. Vince McMahon is the mega owner, mega backer of all this kind of stuff. So all the president did here was put the CNN logo over Vince McMahon. I'm seeing multiple reports everywhere of that he's body slamming a man and all this. That's Vince McMahon. And this is old video. To me, maybe Rob is different on this. So many of the president's tweets you can argue about, and they're offending people, and they're going back and forth. This one, to me, it's almost comical in a way. When you put it in, and people are going crazy about, oh my gosh, he's got the Putin thing coming up, he should be doing. I think he's messing with people.
He's trolling us.
I think he's just having fun with this one. We could argue about all the other ones. But this one is Vince McMahon with the CNN logo box over him. I just started laughing when I saw that. Because I don't know that anybody's offended other than CNN.
Right.
Right. CNN did release a statement. We'll have that in a minute. But Rob, so what you got?
I feel like, honestly, of all the ones out there, especially considering last week I think was definitely over the line for many people. But this one, read any headline that you have in the news these days. It's always somebody slamming somebody or annihilating somebody. So this is a visual of what's out there. I'm sure the president wasn't in there in video photoshopping, putting this together. I'm sure somebody made this. He probably saw it and said, "Hey, this is funny. This is. I feel like I'm doing this. I feel like I want to do this, metaphorically speaking, because you can't body slam a news organization. But I think of everything out there. This one is not as bad as what was going on last week.
What do you think?
Well, first, so CNN Communications at CNNPR on Twitter responded to the tweet in quotations, "The president in no way, form, or fashion has ever promoted and encouraged violence. If anything, quite the contrary." And that's a quote from Huckabee? Sarah Huckabee. That's a quote from her from June 29, 17. I think I was more upset with the video because of the bad graphics. Now let's keep it real. Okay. You got access to the top of everything. You got access to the top graphic designers, the top security intel, the top everything. You got the top group of the best at your fingertips. This graphic looked like it was done by the intern. And the intern that only got the job because it was somebody's son and he was just there for the summer hanging out. Like we could have hit it hard with the graphics at the least.
The more I see this, the funnier it gets to me.
Like look, that's what the graphics come on. But
of the 592 tweets that he's put out since he was a candidate that were actually offensive to a group of people or people. The fact that he's body slamming Vince McMahon in WrestleMania and put the scene, to me, that's low, man. That's low, and that's nothing really there.
Right.
I could see how, but then again, you know, his office says that this doesn't encourage violence against CNN or the media. He says, I've never promoted that. You kind of you're having him punching out CNN. It could incite some of his fervent followers the next time there's a big story. You know, I think they're already pretty riled up against the media anyway.
We got a couple of comments. Jeff Palmer says, nothing compared to the war the media Obama committed against police officers that resulted in dozens of police being executed. Okay. Then another comment says, Ashley Page, he needs to stop before he gets in trouble. And then Joe Dahl, he trolls you every day. So a lot of comments, different sides of the discussion. But we've seen this before. I'm not surprised at anything anymore. I think I'm becoming quite numb, and I'm scared of being numb.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Is you get desensitized over a period of time.
Right.
And we've talked about this. I think we even talked about it last week. And to be transparent, Cornelia was like, do we even really want to get into this today about presidential tweets? But I think,
do we have to respond to every single tweet?
Yeah, it's like, you know, he's putting the worm on the hook, and we're the fish, and we're always biting it. But I do think that Donald Trump as a candidate put out enough information that people were offended about, and he still got elected. And as I said last week, election morning, the day after, when he won, I was like, oh my gosh, it really kind of blew me away. And I think he put out enough stuff that if people, it really mattered to a lot of people. He clearly would not have been elected. He probably would have been kicked off the campaign months earlier. But it just goes on and on and on, and people either are so on board with his tweets and follow him, or they become desensitized. And it's just built up this tolerance that, to me, the CNN thing was funny.
But let me ask this, though. So now that we see this, and we've seen, quote-unquote, success, the success that has happened with the president being who he is and tweeting as freely as he does, are we going to start seeing trends with other potential world leaders or people who are vying for this spot in their respective countries to say, you know what, I'm just going to go all in, lay fire to everything, say what I want to say or say what the people want me to say? Do we think this is the start of something different?
Gosh, well, that's such, I don't know, I've never really thought about that before, but this is a blueprint to something new. And I would say, in reference to his tweet that he put out, this is a modern presidential, I don't know the exact one, but basically this is the new way of doing things. He might have a point there, because he is able to directly communicate with all of his millions of followers and all of his millions of people that are not in his camp, directly, instantly from his phone, without going through anybody, and probably doesn't run it by anybody. And that is something, I think, pretty new.
I think there's only one Donald Trump. I don't think that this plays anywhere else. It doesn't play. There's only one of those in this country. There was a candidate who was running against Emmanuel Macron in France, who was a Trump-like candidate, did not win election, very much had a lot of the extremely conservative views that he has. It didn't play well. I don't know anywhere else in the world that there is another slot for a Donald Trump other than the United States and the Donald Trump that we have. He's so unique.
Yeah.
And anybody else that comes along that's like him isn't going to be him and is clearly ripping off his style. I think that this is a one-shot deal.
And everybody's really chiming in. A lot of comments right now. D. Salisbury says, just don't see what the big deal is. We also have a comment from Shannon Freese. If he wasn't president, this would be hilarious. He needs to grow up and maybe start doing something other than trolling the internet. And then we had a shout out to Justin Trudeau. One comment I'm trying to find.
He's watching the show?
No. Well, I wish. It says something like, he should be a little more like, oh, there it is, from Lauren Rombach. I'd much rather have a leader with class like Justin Trudeau. So we're still split on this. We're still split on this, but I think we are all in agreement that we're going to keep seeing these tweets. But now they're upgraded with graphics and now GIFs, GIFs and memes.
The other thing, too, is that, you know, for a holiday weekend, you're kind of, you know, on Friday, there was a bunch going on with the Mika Brzezinski story and Joe Scarborough and that whole thing. And then things kind of were quiet through the weekend. And then you're in weekend mode. And for a lot of us, a 4-day weekend. Then there was that one moment in time, maybe over the weekend, where people are like, okay, a lot's going on. What's going on with the news? Now this is the news. Now people go back into vacation mode or 4th of July, we got barbecues, we got fireworks, there's a bunch of things going on. But that's what's going on the internet. The reality of the situation, he's got the G20 summit coming up. There will be a meeting with the Russian president. There's a health care bill, which is still in motion. It's not dead yet. So there are things that will affect you. There are things that the president will be making decisions on this week that has nothing to do with an animated GIF.
Right.
And that's the other thing. We need to talk about this story. We also need to talk about the other things with world leaders and also with a health care bill that's going to affect everybody in the United States. That is happening this week.
Yeah. So we'll keep our eye on all of it here in the Newsroom Morning Blend. We usually have updates for you for all of those things, but especially on Extra Shot. If something comes up, we'll be the first to let you guys know, give you all the tea. So let's move on to another topic.